Well, hello, all my little risk takers. My name is Molly Patrone. I'm a special education teacher out of Littleton, Colorado, and I am just in love with ed tech. So that is one of the reasons why I love doing this. One of my New Year's resolutions was to do videos about things that I like to do online to help kids do better in class. And the one thing that I could probably talk for hours on is Google Slides. Google Slides is it's a, well, Casey Bell from Shake Up Learning talks about it as the Swiss Army knife of Google, which means you can do just about anything with it. And my main takeaway today that I hope you share with me is interaction. So especially with remote learning, or I even use this when we were face-to-face hybrid, being able to see them actually move things into where I needed them to go, and then be able to see it on a dashboard. So I'm going to integrate tools like Google Slides and PearDeck, as well as Bitmoji in this video. So the first thing I want to show you is just setting up slides. I barely ever use any of the slides that they give me. So the click here for title, click here for subtitle. I really just use a lot of, I make my own text boxes and I upload my own backgrounds. So what you're looking at right now is in addition to being a special education teacher, I support the Algebra 1 team. And so I create PowerPoint slides for not only the Algebra 1 students, but we have a front-loading class that we call Academic Workshop. And it is for students that are on a caseload, and they get front-loaded information by me for algebra. So the one thing that I want you guys to see is that if I wanted to add, so I usually start with a blank template. Okay, so I'm going to put this up here, show you that. So usually I start with a blank template. Usually when you open up a Google Slide presentation, it starts out with the two bars of click here for title, click here for subtitle. And that's just the genericness of Google Slides. That is the stepping off point. You do not have to make it all flary and cute and wonderful. In fact, I'll show you ones that really aren't. But it just really helps me identify the expectation and what's expected in the routine of my slides. So again, you do not have to follow everything that I do. I just want to show you the things that I take away from this as being really exciting. So the first thing I want you guys to see is how I got this background in this red one. Okay, so all I did was right click and I go to change background. Okay, you can do that also by clicking clicking slide and going to change background too. That's fine. There's a lot to be said about this right click menu though. So I click change background and I can change it to different colors. In fact, I usually do that. I have the same color for all my vocab slides. I have the same color for all my graphing slides. I have the same color for all my we're going to do this problem together slides. So you can make that however you want it to look. I just feel like that's kind of the interactive notebookness. So when a kid sees a slide presentation, if they had a hard time understanding how to do one thing, they go to my I call it Aggie Orange because I went to CSU, my Aggie Orange slide. So they get to see that, Colorado State University, for those of you who are wondering, CSU. The orange slides are, we worked out this together. I go to my yellow slide or my Littleton Lion yellow slide for the graphing slides. And then I have my lavender lion slide for my vocab. So we'll see that here in a minute. So you can change all these different colors. There's 1,000 different colors. You can make it a gradient, all that kind of stuff. So I just make them all the same. So that way the kids know what to expect when they open up a slide presentation. You can also click to find an image. So that's what I did on the red one. So I clicked find an image and I went to Google image search and I just put in shopping. The reason why I did shopping is because the end project that they do is about shopping. So I figure this will kind of get them in the mindset of, oh, we're going to talk about shopping. It's just some random thing. I don't know if they actually pick up on it sometimes, but we'll see. So there's tons of different pictures that you could have put on here. I usually find ones like this one was close for me to find. But let's say, so here's the one that I actually chose, right? So let's choose this one. That way I can see how the difference is. And then you click insert. And then it thinks for a second and then you click done. The only thing that kind of sucks about this is it's exactly what the picture is. So you can't go and crop this, okay? When we get later in the video and I talk about the Bitmoji classroom, which is so exciting, I can show you how to take an image and upload it from your computer. But this is kind of the quick and dirty part of it. The other nice thing about this is I can come here and I can format. No, I can't. Never mind. I'm lying to you. Sorry. If it was a picture, I could actually mess with it and make it different colors. But I can't do that if it's just the background. So open back up because I want to see. Okay. So we have our background. All I did with this background is I just added a text box. So I have a text box here. In fact, I can add both of these text boxes. I do a lot of copying and pasting, by the way. Okay. And obviously those, you can't see the text because I made it white on the other screen, but now I made it black. So this could be my new background if I really wanted to do it that way. Okay. So I make one background and I copy and paste that mother like you wouldn't believe. So all the way up here, this is my my foundation. And then I just copy and paste those slides into another slide presentation for the individual lessons. But this is for the whole unit. So I put this on, I have a Wakelet page that I put it on that kids can find. So it makes it easier. But I put everything for an entire unit of study in one slide presentation. And then I separate it out per lesson or per unit or per module. So I made this and then I made this. And this is what I copy and paste over and over and over and over again. The 4 modules that we have in lesson or module 11, I've copied this 4 times. Okay. So that's exactly what I do. I would so I remake that, go back down to the one we were making, right? So say this is my lead one. All I would do is I duplicate slide and then I just change whatever it is that I want. So say we're going to make this 11.4. That way it saves me all that time. Super simple, super easy. Definitely go back, rewatch, pause, go back, rewatch, pause. I know I go fast. I know that this goes by really fast, and it's not to really stunt your learning. It's because I'm really excited about it and I don't know how to slow down. So sorry. Okay, so I'm going to delete this actually. So delete, because this is actually a live presentation, but super simple, super easy. Okay, so I have this as my background. So the other thing that's nice is if you have something that you don't want them to move around, I can't move anything on my background, right? The only thing I can move is the things that light up, the text boxes. Okay. So the next part that I was telling you guys about is I make my backgrounds from my vocabulary the same color in every single solitary PowerPoint that I make. You will find this lion lavender because the school that I teach at is we are purple and gold. So this is lavender for lions. Is for my vocabulary. So I know that sometimes on Teachers Pay Teachers and some other things, they have the interactive notebook where you see like the tabs on the side and whatnot. And let me tell you, that is kind of a pain in the ass to make. So sorry, I don't know if it's made for kids anymore now that I said the A word. But an interactive notebook for kids, this is so easy for them to visually see. So especially if you have kids that are slow processing, low processing, they need that visual representation. This is now a visual representation for them to be able to see. I know that my violet slides are my vocabulary, right? Like I planned that. Okay, so this is something that they can easily see. The next part, we're going to get into a little bit more about this little guy over here, this PearDeck thing, this cute little Perry. So what's nice about this and what makes slides even more interactive than they already are is when you use a program like PearDeck. There's another one called Nearpod. I like PearDeck a little bit better, especially if your district has bought the premium version, thanks COVID. But I would definitely, now that I have so addicted to PearDeck, I would pay for the yearly version. I don't even care. It has been a lifesaver, especially with our hybrid and remote learning, because I can launch this in a classroom. And I'm even thinking about if the kids like the kids that always grapple for extra credit, I'm just like, well, on your asynchronous days, you guys can join my classroom and do the activity with us, because all I do is open this up in PearDeck and I can show you guys how to do that. So What this slide is doing, so down here you can kind of see students write your response. So what I've done is I've asked a question. This actual thing is the essential question from the lesson book that we use. So, or actually, this is not the essential question, but it's one of the kind of like step off the bridge into this abyss sort of question is, what do you notice about the coefficients of the y terms? And so hopefully their written response will be something like, oh, they're just opposites, or oh, they look the same, or something like that. So if I were to launch this lesson, so if I were to start this lesson, and again, this is an extension that you can find. You can sign up for PearDeck for free. They give you pretty minimal stuff, but I start an instructor-led. We can go back to the student-led too. I'm going to sign in. You guys can know my email. I really don't care. You can email me all you want. Okay, and it's just one of those like Cleaver things. They just open it up, the Google sign in, all that fun jazz. So it's now launching the presentation. Okay, so for those of you that are still possibly hybrid, or you teach an online school and you want to be able to utilize this anyway, this is the dashboard. I'll come back to that. You now have a join code. And so basically what happens is the kids go to joinpd.com. They put in this thing, and sometimes it spells out really weird words. And sometimes while I'm waiting for kids to log in, I'll be like, oh, what do you guys see? What kind of words are there? You know, just random stuff, whatever. So what's nice about this is if you are online, or if you have a chat bubble, or if you have something that you are interacting with kids in another way, you can do that by giving the students a link, and it just says link is copied to your clipboard. That means you can go paste it in your chat if you're in Google Meet or Zoom or whatever, and then the kids can click it that way. Or if I present this on my interactive board or my whiteboard, kids can see that and they just go to joinpd.com. Sometimes it gets a little glitchy, but I try and play a game. I'm just like, guys, this is just clicking just right there. Okay, so then you press continue, and then you've launched you're ready to go, ready to see that. So what they see on their board, so I'll show you what that looks like. This dashboard. Okay, so this pops up. You can get to it a couple different ways from the window, but that may be another presentation, or you can just look up how to work PearDeck. But this is waiting for responses. So as you can kind of see here, so as you can kind of see here, right? This is the slide that they see. This is exactly what their screen looks like. So what they're doing is typing in this box, and then as they're doing it, those responses will pop up here. So where it says waiting for a response, each time a kid starts typing, you start to see what they type. It also shows you if they deleted a response or not, too. So I can also keep my dashboard open and just click to the next one. Okay, so the next thing that they're going to do, so waiting for responses, is they're going to draw. So this is what my slide looks like. And down here in this tiny little words right here, it says students draw anywhere on the slide. There is an option for a text box. It's not just going to be a free draw. Okay, so those of you in elementary, I would definitely teach them how to use the text box. It's amazing. But if they want to draw, they can draw. But if I can't read it, I call them out in front of all their friends. So sorry. But they would put in these answers, right? So they would put in what we're doing. So we're following the first step of elimination, which is add or subtract the equation to eliminate one variable and then solve for the other variable, right? So I have identified that we are adding, just to identify, just so they can see it a little bit better. And that's just a text box. We'll go back to the slides and I'll show you what that looks like. But now in this box, they're going to put, well, 2x plus 3x, that equals 5x. Boom, done. Negative 4y plus positive 4y, that's 0, right? And then I get 1,000 questions. Well, I don't get anything. It's true. It's 0, or you can put an x, or whatever it is. Negative 10 plus 5 is going to be negative 5, right? So they're actively putting this into the slide. So voila, copy of notes, my notes with their notes, right? So it's amazing. It's really cool. Okay, so I can, and they get a takeaway after this. I'll get to that in a second. So then I can go to the next one, and this one, it's also a number slide. Okay, so I'm showing them the steps and they're just providing me the answer. So if I divide by 5 on both sides, x is going to be -1, you're correct. Nice job, everybody. Okay, so they get to interact with the slides, and then it's awesome. It's so cool. Now, because there were not any students in this one, I don't think we get any takeaways, but let's see if I do. So I'm going to come here to end my presentation. And sometimes, yeah, you put a lot of effort into all these other slides and you don't get very far. But you know what? They get everything that they interacted with, which is really kind of neat. So end, I can name it, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to say practice. And then this thing comes up with published takeaways. And I'll show you what that looks like. But this is basically taking the notes that you took, that they laid on top of, and giving it to them. Copy of notes. Copy of teacher notes, everybody. This is like the golden ticket. Oh, so awesome. Okay. So I'm going to press cancel. I'll end session without naming, and it'll just give me some whatever thing. So it takes me back to my original slide presentation. Okay. So the other thing that you can do is a student paced activity. I did this with a review, like a study guide that we did for our finals. So kids were able to go through it and they were able to come back with questions. So kind of the same thing. They interact with the slides and they type things in, but then it makes them work on top of that slide. So it's without making all of the text boxes in the world, use PearDeck to do it. It's already built. It's fine. And even if your district didn't get the premium, the yearly is really not that bad. It's fine. So the student-paced activity is something that I would use for a study guide, something for a kid that might need to do makeup work, and you can toggle back and forth. Toggle back and forth, or pivot maybe back and forth between instructor-paced activity, student-paced activity, or you can just turn it off altogether. But the kids have access to that. Okay. So that's what those slides look like. And these are all, again, just text boxes that I put in. And then I really just copied and pasted. They all look the same because I copy and paste, so I don't have to do more than I have to. Okay, so there we go. We see it and we get to the solution. The other thing that I like about this is, especially with the PearDeck collaboration, is you can add other websites. So I put a Jamboard in here. So this Jamboard is part of this Do You Get It jam that I have. And what's really cool this morning was the first time I actually used it with students. So I was kind of like, what? But if a kid has a question, they're going to come over here, click on the sticky note, and then they're going to ask a question. So how did you get the Y answer? Save. Okay, so now they can fill out this whole thing with sticky notes. They can change the colors. I was actually really surprised they all kept them yellow. A couple of them tried to change some like gross things. But I had to remind them that it's the 1, 2, 3, 4th thing down that creates the sticky note, because a lot of them were trying to make a square. So I just had to remind them it's a sticky note instead. Okay, and you can add as many as you want on here. Now, when you've answered all their questions, or maybe you want to take a screenshot, or if you want to save all of these somewhere, that is totally fine. But when you're all done, you just come here to clear frame. Boom. Okay. So my other thing go away. But I can delete that too. This was just, I set a background. If you didn't see my Jamboard video, you can definitely find that, but there's a ton of them on there. And I'll put different stuff in my details for the video. So that is how I would use interactive Google Slides. For classroom notes, you can connect it to Jamboard. You can collaborate with that PearDeck piece, which is phenomenal. It is, I can't get over how exciting it is to use PearDeck. It is so cool. I use it in almost all of my lessons. If not, well, I use it in all my lessons. We won't say almost, because that's a dirty word at this point. Okay, so I've been able to, this is a Desmos one. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a choose an option. Actually, I need to change the background to we're going to work it out together color. Okay. So see how all of these, I know that we worked on these together. I know that if I flip through a whole bunch of these, oh, this was a graphing one. It goes to Desmos to graph. This is another one, work on it together. Oh, here's my vocab ones, right? So see how visually pleasing it is to see the different colors and what they mean, right? I add little things in here, like when they freak out and think that we're doing something super difficult, I put stop signs on there. This is just a background, right? I can't move this. This is just, I chose a background and then I put a text box here. So interactive slides, but make them meaningful, make them mean something. Don't just change a color to change a color and make it look crazy. Make it mean something. I'm a huge proponent of color coding in the special ed world. I think that's like you have to like sign an oath that says you're going to color code things, but it's actually the coolest thing I've ever seen. So it's just really nice for kids to be able to flip through these things and be like, oh yeah, this was the second one, so I know that we did this, and it was about substitution, so that was the second one. We're actually doing this now. Kids they're getting it. So yeah, so this is the really neat thing about slides. I have one more thing. I know that I've been talking forever, but this brought some calm over me at the beginning of the 2020 school year when we were all wondering what in the HE double hockey sticks we were doing, right? So we got an extra week of planning, and I spent some time doing this, which helped like me take a deep breath. I felt like everything was coming at me all at once. But it's making a Bitmoji classroom. So this was what I started off the school year with. Put me somewhere so you guys can see everything, okay? So this is what my agenda looks like on my website. So when you use Google, any of the Google tools, they all talk to each other. They all meld with each other. That's the point of having all these tools. And so when I this is another use for a Google slide presentation, is I make an agenda, and I'll show you what that looks like on my website. But this is what I started with, and so everything is kind of clickable, right? So this went to like a daily, you deserve all these things, like, you know, just for kids, little daily affirmations and positive thoughts. This was linked to my email. This one is linked to their Google Classroom page. This one is linked to nothing. It's just CSU because that's where I went to school. This is to the volleyball website because I'm one of the volleyball coaches, right? But the nice thing about this is I have a big whiteboard here. Now, what do you think I would do is add a text box so I can type in it, right? I always like to make my borders pretty big, right? I can add columns and rows. I can make it a table. This is just like if you go into your classroom and you write on your whiteboard on what your daily activities are going to be or what your learning objective is, or think about all the things you could write on this whiteboard if you don't have access to your whiteboard at school. So let's back up and I'll show you what I did. Okay, so the first thing I did is this guy, this puppy here. All I did was I had a blank slide. I went to change background. I went to choose image, Google image search, and I searched for wall floor. And look at all these. Show you what I searched for here. So wall floor. So all of these things are a wall and a floor. Wall and a floor, wall and floor. You can get crazy with this. Like, look at this room. This is really neat. This is kind of neat. I think this is what my current one is. But I even found like wall, floor, I don't know, castle. And then it finds me these cute like medieval things, right? So I think I did one of these for Halloween. I think I did a mall for Christmas. I found a wall and a floor for Christmas. So people, you know, for shopping and things like that. You can do cozy. So some of them do have chairs, which is kind of neat. I think one of the ones that I liked for Thanksgiving was a fireplace. Is that right? Yeah. So here's some ones with fireplaces in them, and then you can cover all these up. But let's say I'm going to pick this one. Okay, so now I have a background for my room, my space. This is what I want to do, right? And then again, we're going to come back here. I'm going to copy, obviously I've done this before. So I'm going to copy this thing, paste, and now I can put my whiteboard wherever I want in my classroom. If you double click on the picture, you can make all that extra stuff go away. But now I can make a spot, like maybe I want it over here. I can resize it. I can make it however big I want to, okay? So now I've created a whiteboard. I can put myself over here in a podium. I can put my dog over here taking a nap. I can put any kind of resource that I want in this room, right? All I'm doing is just, I want to insert an image. I'm going to Google it. Let's say I have a black lab, so black lab, and sometimes you can do like thick, and that helps find like, oh, black lab, let's do transparent. All that does is it kind of takes all the extra stuff. So like, I think I had this one. This is not what my dog looks like. He's so much bigger now. He just walked past behind me. He's huge here. But then I can resize him, right? And now I have my dog chilling in my classroom. Okay. So I have all these things that I can add in. I know this is super boring right now, but like I have all these things that I can add in. And so it's my ice machine, sorry. And it helps me kind of create this experience in this space that kids get to see me in. And then the last part, if you haven't downloaded the Bitmoji extension or created a Bitmoji for yourself, that's also something fun. So I can come up here and I can say, I don't know, let's say that I want to be laughing, or there's all these different things that you want to do. So let's say I want to be happy. So it'll give me all the happy things, all the happy pictures, right? And it'll help me kind of create more space for my students to be able to see me in. So you can also put couch, and it'll have you sitting on a couch. So like I could be on a couch right here, and I'm going to right click this, copy image, and paste. Right, so now I'm on a couch in my classroom. I can edit this, right? I can cover up, let's say I want to cover up my fireplace. And then I am now in my classroom that I created for myself. I was like mind blown when I saw this happen. It was really cool. So this is a really neat activity to do. Now, how to make any slide, including this one, how to make any slide so the kids can't move stuff around. You got to have space on your computer, everybody, because what you're going to do is you're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Download as this JPEG. I know I'm kind of in the way, but it's JPEG. So Download JPEG, File, Download JPEG. And what it's going to do is open up where I want to save it. Maybe. Come on. File, Download JPEG. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now I can add it in my pictures, and I have a ton of them already here, right? So I can say agenda practice. Save. I'm going to duplicate this slide, take all this stuff, make it go away, and I'm going to change the background. Okay, choose image, and I'm going to upload an image because I saved it in my pictures. I click browse, pictures, and here's my agenda practice, the one we made together. Okay, and it's going to open it up. Done. Now the kids can't move anything, but you can add a text box here and start adding what you're going to write on your board. So I know this was fast and I know it was long. Hopefully it was better than some of your first dates. I don't know. But I just wanted you guys to be able to see all the cool stuff that Google Slides can do. And hopefully it kind of, it projects you to search more about the things that you'd want to do with Google Slides. So in this presentation, I showed you a Bitmoji classroom, which is what we're looking at right now. This is the one that I have for right now for my new year. It's in January, so I'm wearing a little party hat. All this stuff is linked on my agenda that I put on my website. So here is my Algebra 1 website. And once you add one Google presentation, you never have to go back to your website ever again. So here's all the stuff that we use. Everything that I want to link is linked. So here's my volleyball website, yikers. Don't want to go there. Here's the module we're working on. Here's the Google Meet links that we're working on. Here's the Wakelet page. All of these things are linkable. They're all stuck here after I've linked it. So the background doesn't move, but the little text box things do. But what's nice about this is that I can add all of this in a Google slide, and then I just copy and redo the top one. So it's really neat. So if I have today's stuff on there, I'm going to duplicate the slide, And for tomorrow's stuff, I'm just going to re-edit all of this. So it's actually just a really neat activity to complete. So I really hope that I didn't waste your time. I know this is a lot of information, but PearDeck is amazing. Please look that up. There's a ton of videos out there. You get little badges and stuff like that when you have the hours of interaction. And just make it easy for yourself. Cut and paste as much as you can. Duplicate slide is really one of my favorite things to do. And then also color code things. It just makes it a lot easier and visually pleasing for students. So I hope you really enjoy this little shot of ed tech, and I look forward to seeing you again. Talk to you later.